Hi everyone, welcome to a new video, and in this video I'm going to be reading the new Hunger Games book, Sunrise of the Reaping. So let's go. Firstly, am I a Suzanne Collins fan? Well, yes I am. Yes I am. Pull up in the 4 books that I have, because you already know, like, I love the Hunger Games. Any opportunity I will talk about it. I then read the book, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, which is the Lucy Gray book. So this is a prequel, because those 3 books take place from the perspective of Katniss. So that she's in the 74th and 75th Hunger Games, and then this is the 10th Hunger Games. So it's a prequel about Lucy Gray Beard, who's also from District 12. Now, the new book, The Sunrise of the Reaping, which I don't have the physical copy, I'm going to be listening to the audiobook, so there's no point. But that one has just come out, and for some reason I was like, okay, whatever, I might not read it, I'll just watch the movie if it comes out. I don't know why. I think I knew this was going to be heavy, so I was like, oh yeah, I'm not going to read it. However, TikTok, why are you spoiling it for me? So anyway, I got the audiobook and now I'm gonna start reading it. So the new book is about Haymitch, who is Katniss's mentor in the 74th and 75th Hunger Games from District 12. He's a mentor because he won the Hunger Games in the 50th Hunger Games, which was a quarter quell. So a quarter quell is like All-Stars kind of. So they like change the game. They make the rules more heightened. So in the 75th Hunger Games, they invite all the victors back from the previous Hunger Games to take part. So they only pick from previous victors. They only pick their names. So the second quarter quell, which is this book, is they double the size. So instead of picking 2 tributes from each district, they pick 4. So, and then I can't remember what they did on the first quarter quell, but I've been watching a lot of like video essays about the Hunger Games. Like, I watched one really interesting the other night about how District 11 is responsible for the rebellion, and it makes so much sense. And then she also, in that video, talks about a lot of the black characters and tributes and victors from the Hunger Games universe, and that was great. Then I also watched one video about how there's a theory that the capital is actually in Utah, Salt Lake City, and I just found that really interesting. But for this video, I'm going to be getting into Haymitch's book, which I can't wait for. So what I know from all the 4 books that I've read, Haymitch obviously happens in the quarter quell from District 12. So yeah, that's all I know. I think from District 12, there's only been like 4 winners. So Lucy Gray, and then obviously Katniss and Peter, and then Haymitch. I don't know anyone else, but apparently this Haymitch book ties this book and this book together quite well. So I can't wait to see that, because it name drops everyone. It kind of like puts everyone in a loop together, so they're all connected. So yeah, let's get into the book now, and I will get back to you with an update, I'm guessing very soon actually. So yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so I have finished the book now. I really wanted to do check-ins as I was reading it, but I started to get really sad at like the halfway point and like couldn't proceed. But I want to let you know that this is going to contain spoilers. I've literally got friends messaging me about it. This one really crept in on me. I wasn't expecting this at all. Obviously it's crazy because it's such a complete story that it makes you think that Suzanne Collins knew this all along. Like, she had this book written, Lucy Gray's book written, the movies planned out, the trilogy written before like even I knew about it. Because this, for me, initially when I was reading it, I was like, oh, this is going to be like the stepping stone that connects Lucy Gray and Katniss. And even though it does that, it's so much more than just that stepping stone. It's like an explanation of so much. Firstly, you get to know obviously about Haymitch, but you get to know about the depth of the Hunger Games itself and the whole rebellion that ended up taking place. And like, one thing that's really taken me out is like, Katniss might have thought like, oh, this is like, we're doing this rebellion, like finally we've all like got arms and we're ready to go. But this was something that everyone around her had tried before and was so aware of. And it was almost like for them now looking back, it's like them, like when Katniss came along and like they kind of got a sense of it. This was like, oh my god, this is literally the second coming. This is crazy. I was watching TikToks. I was like, after I finished it, because for me, that like it's in 3 parts, right? So that last part, like, not only took my heart out, but it ripped it out, stamped on it, just like put it in a shredder, got the shredder, put it in another shredder. It was crazy. Like, that last third really, really, really got me, because obviously, like, the before the games, you know, that's bad enough. The arena really, oh my god, the arena, because I I Suzanne Collins, you are so smart, but you're so evil, and I hate you, President Snow. I literally hate you, President Snow, down. Like, I'm not even. I want to cuss anyone out right now, but please, like, stay away from me, please. But this book, oh, craziness, crazy work. Like, I don't even know where I was on my train of thought, but like, the last third changed my mind so much, because I was reading it very sad, but I was almost at a place where I was like, oh yeah, 4 stars, like, it's done, because I didn't gel that much with the Lucy Gray book, but I loved the movie. I loved the movie down. This is like the best thing for me I think I read this year, because it's, like I said, so intentional. There's literally not even Easter eggs, because you have watched Katniss, and like, I was like a teenager when Katniss was doing what Katniss did. Like, when the books came out, I was like 12. When I watched the movies, I was like 13, maybe 14. And now I'm a 27-year-old man, and like, I know about District 12. Like, I was born and raised there. Like, I know about the families in District 12. I know about the struggles. I know what got them to that moment. And I think that's such a beautiful message, because like, as I was saying earlier, Katniss is like, oh, this is the first time, but it's not the first time for everyone else. Everyone else has such skin in this game, and like, that speaks so much as well, because I feel like, obviously, the objective, yeah, is to finish the Hunger Games. We need to put an end to this. But for everyone, they have their own personal stories, objectives, goals, like, end results. And like, if you want to come at it from a place of like ego, Haymitch could be really rotten and be like, oh, well, that should have been me who ended the Hunger Games. Obviously, he tried the hardest he could at the 50th Hunger Games, but it wasn't for him to end the Hunger Games. If he had ended the Hunger Games then, like, he wouldn't even have had any skin in the game. Like, obviously, he's in the Hunger Games, people are dying, people he love are dying, but he needed to wait until Katniss was there, so he knew what it meant. Now that's gonna make me upset. No, literally, like, it's such an emotional book. It's like, I honestly, if I ever saw Suzanne Collins, I'd be like, what's going on in your mind? Because like, I remember like when I was a kid, like, people would be like, oh yeah, she was switching through channels like Big Brother and the Iraq War. But this is so much more than that, because the one thing I can put this down to is President Snow, right? And I think, I hate to sound like Janet Jackson, if you get that reference, I love you, but this is more than just like a bitter old man or an angry man or someone who was like scorned or this, that, the other. It's so much a story of control. It's crazy. And how control gets to a point when you try and have it that is actually just detrimental to everyone, because Snow, right? Snow was so like downtrodden in the first couple of 10 years of the Hunger Games and after the rebellion. Like, obviously he was rich, but he wasn't rich. He was probably like lower in that kind of tax bracket or what societal thing you want to call it. And then he gets to the 10th Hunger Games, and then he learns through everything that he goes through in Lucy Gray's book about how important control is, because he's seen kind of like being downtrodden, and then he saw why it's important for him to be in control of the narrative, because everyone else took away, like Lucy took away all the control that he could have. So now that when we meet him in the 50th Hunger Games, he's built such a empire which he's in control of totally. And the Hunger Games is just like this reminder to everyone of the control that he has over everyone by using the weakest link, like literally using kids that are like 12 to 18. And then it's even more messed up that those kids have the responsibility of ending the Hunger Games. So like he's built it in a way that it seems like an empire that you can never tear down, but obviously it ends up happening. It's crazy because like evidently all these empires are gonna collapse. So I don't know why President Snow thought his wouldn't, but I guess it's a larger piece on life, isn't it? Like all these like people who have the ego that they think they have this empire that would never go down, they're gonna go down. They're gonna go down. But even like beside like that, I'm like a natural philosopher. I'm a Sagittarius. Even beside that, like I was saying earlier, with this book, I'm kind of like, did this woman know the plot line before she even like finished her first book? Because like I'm watching TikToks, and what do you mean? This all makes sense. Like in the first movie, there's so many times like Hamish looked away that like makes sense that he would look away at the chariot race where he lost his friend Luella. That Luella thing really annoyed me because that broke my heart. Like, what do you mean? Like someone that he would call his sweetheart in a sisterly way died at the chariot race, and then they send a clone of her who's saying find Hamish, and then I saw another thing on the TikTok saying something about that quote being find Hamish, and when everyone found Hamish, they curtains closed for them. Like that is so like the whole thing makes me feel so bad for Hamish, right? Because I had another thought as well, like he had such mirroring with Katniss in the way that like there's so many similarities in Katniss that it must have been like someone said it's exposure therapy. Like him being Katniss's mentor. Not only is this his friend's daughter making him like an uncle naturally, it's also someone who has the same hair as his like friend Luella who died in the Hunger Games, and it's someone who has a pin of his sister that died in the Hunger Games. It's like, are you kidding me? And then like her actions invoke so much about Hamish when he was younger, like all the things that he peeled away about himself. And like it's literally exposure therapy. So I thought in the second Hunger Games, when Katniss gets raped again, or when it gets announced that it'll be from the victors, Hamish doesn't care about him dying, possibly. He cares that he knows Katniss is going to have to go through this again. Because all the trauma that Katniss carries from the first Hunger Games is so similar to the trauma that Hamish had. And like the whole drinking thing makes me really upset. He's reliving that moment where the love of his life dies. But then in a way that's beautiful because then he gets to be with her again. But then also he can't die in the real world because he needs to fulfill her promise of there not being a sunrise on the reaping day. Man, Suzanne Collins, you're an evil genius. Like, this is crazy. This is crazy. Like, it's just so much that's going on in my brain where it's I was looking at family trees on Google before I made this video because I was like, everyone's talking about who everyone's related to. Who's Gale related to? Because I want to know, because that would make a lot of sense for the person that he ends up being, but whew, I give it 5 stars is the conclusion. And as always, please do like, comment and subscribe, but for now, bye.